Hello, I'm Alev and this is a recap for episode 53 of the series One Love, 24 hours after Turkey and before dubbed for TV. Doa, unable to reach her mother, tells Alev to do something and stop her. Alev immediately takes herself to the engagement venue and informs the Yunal family about her pregnancy. Meanwhile, Pembe is in a bad mood at home and says, "Oh God, let me die. Our honor is gone. God curse them." Fatih says, "I didn't understand why Mrs. Kızılcık said such a thing." Pembe replies, "Why is she? These people are shameless." Fatih says, "From the beginning, Alev's plan was this." At Sonme's house, she's also upset, and Kızılcık scolds Doa and Alev for what they did. Doa says, "I lied to save Alev from trouble." Kızılcık tells Alev, "Put these aside. Getting pregnant is a big disgrace." Alev asks, "Why? Can't I have a child?" Sonme says, "Do you want to have a child with a married man?" Alev replies, "I'll decide for myself about this. I'm turning 40. It might be my last chance to become a mother." Sonme says, "What do you know about motherhood?" Alev is speechless. The next morning, Nusama tells Omid about Alev's pregnancy and asks why he gave Alev the address of the engagement venue. Omid finds another excuse to argue and says he has enough problems. Annoyed, Nusama says, "You had a problem. It's over. Don't you want to go back to life?" Omid says, "Since you started working, you've changed. You don't like me anymore. You act like a nuclear reactor." Shocked, Nusama says, "You've started a revolt," and goes to the room upset. Omid immediately regrets it and apologizes to Nusama, saying, "I know I'm not feeling well. I feel an uncontrollable rage towards everyone." He tells Nusama that he will go to a psychiatrist and asks her to deal with him during this time. Fatih calls Gökhan and apologizes to him for last night's incident and assures him that Doa is not pregnant. Gökhan says, "Why did she lie? It's just a possibility. She might still be thinking about you." Fatih tells Gökhan that they have no connection with Doa other than their daughter. Gökhan talks to his father and brother, trying to convince them that Fatih is innocent in this matter. But his father firmly says that any connection with this family is impossible, and they will even cut ties with their business. The Abdullah family gathers together to discuss what happened. Nusama tells her mother, "If Dad wants to leave, don't stop him." Everyone is surprised by her words, and Nusama explains, "Alev is having the baby. You know that, right? Her shamelessness will remain with us." Pembe says, "I won't let a bastard take my children's rights." Fatih and Gökhan meet. And Gökhan tells Fatih that the conditions are not favorable for his family to understand, and they oppose this marriage. Fatih asks, "Are you pulling back?" Gökhan takes Fatih's hand and says, "If I didn't like you, I wouldn't have come this far. Let's wait until things calm down." Gökhan, who noticed Kızılcık's presence at the engagement ceremony, no longer responds to Chim's calls, and Chim is very upset. Pembe goes to see Fidela and apologizes to her for last night's incident. Fidela says, "I'm more upset with you than anything else. Did you deserve this? How could Abdullah Khan do this?" Pembe says, "Fatih is not like his father. If a woman has ruined my husband, why should our children pay the price?" Fidela says her husband would never allow this connection to continue. Pembe also talks to Gökhan and says that the bride's family is dishonorable and vulgar, and Fatih's wife caused him all sorts of troubles to get a divorce. And now that Fatih wants to settle down, her head has popped up, and she wants to ruin his life. He asks Gökhan not to back down and to stand by Fatih and fight for his happiness. At night, Alev informs her family that she wants to have the baby and says her decision will not change. Sonmez goes to her room upset. Kahan invites Ertuğrul and Mary to dinner to get closer to Ertuğrul. He takes Leman aside during the party and tells her that Metehan and Mary like each other and asks her to treat Mary like her own daughter. Leman happily agrees. When bidding farewell to the guests, he also tells Mary that Metehan loves her but is too shy to say anything. Mary is happy and embarrassed. At night, Omid sarcastically tells Nusama, "I went to the doctor today. He gave me a bunch of pills. I also started therapy. Anything else you want me to do?" Nusama, who is barely controlling herself, says, "I just want you to be okay. But I'm so tired that you can think however you want." Kızılcık and Omar spend a romantic night together. Kızılcık says, "We're together again, but with a lot of problems." Omar replies, "Nothing can separate us anymore. We've paid a heavy price." When Rüzgar sees Nusama's distress in the channel, he tells her, "Don't torture yourself so much. If you see it can't be fixed, you'll let it go. We're all alone in this world. You're not responsible for Omid's problems. Nusama tells Ruzgar, how can you be so indifferent to everything? Ruzgar replies, when you go through hardship as a child, you become indifferent to many things. I realized I was alone very early on. He praises Nusama and says she stands out from everyone he's seen, and Nusama thanks him. Pamber goes to Alev and tells her, if you want to bring your sin into the world, my family is involved in this matter too. I won't support my husband. You can't defeat us. Alev responds, you think failure is just getting divorced, but you failed a long time ago. Pamber says, you don't need to abandon this child. What does a child, born because of her father's wealth and with you as the mother, want to become? Take your money and forget about bringing this child into the world. At that moment, Omid arrives and stops Alev from attacking Pamber. Omid says, what are you saying to her? Pamber also pours his venom on Omid and says, you're impotent, whatever. Get yourself together. You should take care of my daughter, not her taking care of you. You're taking advantage of her. Chim, who is very angry about what Fateh did with Doa, finds Gökhan and approaches him when he is in a restaurant. He says, Fateh cheated on my sister when she was pregnant. He separated her from her child. His family accused her of madness. Know the person you're marrying. Gökhan replies, I'm not someone who can be influenced by these words. What you're doing is not right. It's over and done with. At that moment, Gökhan enters, and Chim is taken aback. Gökhan pretends not to know him and greets him very formally. Gökhan says, we met at a charity event. Chim says, we have a relationship. Gökhan says, is this how things are in your family? Swearing to ruin people's lives. Chim leaves in disbelief and a bad mood. Gökhan tells Gökhan not to tell anyone about this. Metahon attends an event as Asra's partner, and when reporters see them, they approach them and ask Asra, is he your new boyfriend? Asra confirms and says, we're experiencing a great love. Metahon also tells the cameras, Asra is my life. Shortly after Nile sees the news, she immediately informs Pamber, who promptly calls Omar. Upon seeing the news, Omar wants to rush to see Metahon but doesn't allow Metahon to go. Fateh goes to see Doa to understand what's going on in her mind and why she lied. Doa explains everything to Fateh, who says, you don't know your mother. Your lie hurt me. Gökhan's family backed out of the engagement. Doa says, it must not have happened. Fateh says, I'm telling you, it can't happen because of you. You were the one who didn't want me. I tried everything to make you happy. Am I valuable now? Doa says, yes. Can't I regret it? I've thought a lot. Let's try again. I still love you. Fateh, shocked, says, no, neither can I nor you. It's too late for some things. I want to be happy. More importantly, I want to make the one beside me happy. Later that night at Ruzgar's channel party, his eyes fall on a woman, and he tells Nusama, be my girlfriend. Nusama is shocked, and Ruzgar adds, just for 5 minutes. He introduces Nusama as his fiancée to the woman and then takes her to a corner, saying, her family is very dangerous. Our name has been on their list since childhood. I didn't want you to get into trouble, and brushes the woman off. That night, Chim goes to his aunt's house and tearfully tells her everything, saying he was deeply in love with Gökhan. Alev says, look at me. The end of this road isn't happiness. Forget about him. Don't make my mistake. He's not worth it. When Metahon returns home at night, his father and Mustafa and Fateh are waiting for him. They want to talk to Metahon about Asra, but Metahon doesn't give them a chance and says, isn't Alev younger than the uncle? It's okay when the man is older, but it's a problem when the woman is older. He asks them not to interfere and goes to his room, leaving Omar deeply perplexed. That night, Doa tells her family about Fateh's words, and Kızılcık asks, what do you want, Doa? Tell us so we know how to behave. Doa says, I want reconciliation. Everyone is shocked and scolds Doa, who embarrassedly goes to her room. When Nusama returns home at night, she is shocked to see Omid's suitcases by the door. Omid says, I'm leaving. I can't stay in a house where your family rents out their daughter. It's better if we stay apart for a while. Nusama, shocked, says, are you running away? Omid says, say whatever you want. Run away, coward. It doesn't matter to me. He leaves the house. At the Onal household, Abdullah Khan finally emerges from his room after a long illness and sits with his family. He says, "Tell me what happened." There's no news from the old Abdullah anymore. "When I was sick, everyone did whatever they wanted." Cranberry recounts the engagement night and continues, "Alev is pregnant." Abdullah is shocked. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.